Welcome to a tutorial video on Twine 2.3. In this video I'm going to talk about working with strings and Harlowe 3. Harlowe provides multiple ways to work with strings. The macros lowercase, uppercase, str-reversed, words, and string are some of the more common ways. The lowercase macro, as its name implies, makes a string lowercase. And we see here an example. This right here converted to all lowercase. The uppercase macro, as its name implies, makes a string uppercase. And we see right here the same text we saw over lowercase, now all capital letters. The string reversed macro, as its name implies, reverses a string. And so we see here some capital letters now reversed. The words macro converts a string into an array, breaking a string by white space, these are spaces or line breaks, into its component words. So the words macro takes a string, some text, and converts it into an array and breaks it up based on spaces and other line breaks, or generally white space. So we see here capital. And it'll make a little more sense when we look at the code momentarily. Finally, the string macro, str, converts other values into strings. It is an alias to two other macros, string and text. String, str, and text, all three do the same thing. That is, they take other values that aren't strings and make them strings. So we can take numerical values and make them into strings, and add them together, that is, place them at the end to take numerical values, and instead of adding numerical values together, make them into strings and put all the strings together into one new string. And we'll see that when we look at the code. And in fact, let's jump into the code now. So lowercase is not too terribly surprising. We supply it with a string, in this case some capital letters, and the result is saved into this temporary variable, which we saw in practice. So it converts some string into all lowercase. The uppercase macro, as its name implies, and we've discussed, converts any lowercase into uppercase. So takes a string and we can save the result. We can use string reversed in a similar manner. It takes a string, it reverses it, and we can save that value and then look at it. The words macro, as I discussed, takes a string and converts it into an array, breaking the string up by its white space. These are spaces and other line breaks and other special white space type characters. So we see here the string some capital letters that we've been using throughout this. And we're feeding that to the words macro. The word macro converts it to an array. The array here is stored in the temporary variable new string. Down here in this second one, we're getting the second position. Arrays within Harlowe start at 1. So in this case, we're looking at the second word. The first word would be some, the second word would be capital, the third word would be letters. So we're looking for new strings. New string is a variable containing an array representing the string of words from some capital letters. And we're using right here the possessive apostrophe syntax within Harlowe. So we're saying, okay, give me the value that's at the second position of this variable. So this variable's second position. So for this variable's second position, we're saying, okay, for this array, the second one we know is capital. Capital is stored into string second position, and we saw that in practice. It showed us capital. So the words macro converts a string into an array. Finally, the str macro, or the string macro, or the text macro all do the same thing. And in fact, we see all of them combined right here in the single set macro usage. We see str using the numerical value of 1, text using the numerical value of 12, and string using the numerical value of 13, the result of which as I rerun this, we see is not the addition of all these numerical values, but the string result of putting all of these strings together. 1, 12, and 13 for 11,213. So using these three macros, we can create strings. And it's useful sometimes when we don't want a numerical value, we want a string value instead. So in this video, I reviewed the different ways you can work with strings. And there are other ways to work with strings using macros in Harlowe as well. But some of the more common approaches are lowercase, as I discussed, which converts a string into all lowercase letters, uppercase, which converts a string into all uppercase letters, str-reversed, which reverses a string. We can use the words macro to convert text, some string, into an array, breaking it up by its white space. And we can also make strings using the str, the string, or the text macros, which are all basically the same thing, which all act to take some other value that's not a string and convert it into a string. Thanks for watching.